set the tone for today, we begin with our plenary session on the Lothal project, India's ambitious initiative to establish a state-of-the-art National Maritime Museum at the ancient port city of Lothal. This session will be presented by some of the most distinguished names in the field. To start with, let me call on stage the absolutely wonderful architect Karl Wadia, Senior Design Principal, Architect Hafeez Contractor. Next, I would like to call on stage the ever-smiling Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, founder, Pankaj Dharkar and Associates.
Good morning and thank you very much. I know that the morning session at these exhibitions are always a little, the turnout is a bit low, but I thank all of you who are in the room. First and foremost, I want to thank my friend and mentor, Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, also the first man with whom we visited this site. I still remember the date, 3rd Jan 2020. 3rd Jan 2021. So with that, I'll start today's presentation. The National Maritime Museum of India was an initiative by the government of India to set up one large National Maritime Museum for the country, which did not exist. There were many maritime museums in different port towns and port cities of India, but there was not one single large maritime museum. And with a coastline of in excess of 6,000 kilometers, they chose Gujarat because Gujarat also happens to have the longest coastline of nearly 1,600 kilometers. But Gujarat is also one of the places which has the oldest heritage in terms of maritime trade from India to the Mediterranean. The site which was selected, before I move to that narrative, the plan for the project is to be carbon neutral by 2055, and there are a host of measures in place, and we're checking ourselves with every step of the way to make sure that all the materials being used, all the energy being used, everything that is being designed for is with that initiative in mind. This is also a 100% net zero energy project. In phase 1, we will be 56% renewable, and after phase 2 is complete, the balance 44% will be taken care of, making this the largest net zero energy museum and net zero carbon museum on planet Earth. So it's a very large initiative, and due to having some of the best partners in the industry and a very strong will from the government of India, this is becoming a possibility. So coming back to the location of the site, it's about 3 hours, 2.5 hours from Ahmedabad, 2.5 hours from Baroda. It's a triangle, if you may. It falls in what used to be the Gulf of Khambat, which was the place from which all the maritime trade from India 4,000, 5,000 years ago used to happen with the Mediterranean. So all the spices, the linen, the cloth, all of that used to go back and forth literally from this place of Gulf of Khambat. It used to come out and then go towards the Mediterranean. And the site itself, which is this, is just 1.5 kilometer as the bird flies from the original Harappan port town called Lothal. So if you pull your memory back to school, you may remember that we used to study about the Mohenjo-daro and Harappan ages, and Lothal was an important port town. So what used to happen is, in the high tide, all of this area used to become water, just as you see in the run of Kutch and all today, and they used to bring the ships in, and they used to use this dock to repair ships loaded up with spices, and then as the tide came in, they would let the ships go out. But unfortunately, a couple of thousand years ago, the first known major climate change happened in our planet, and all of this today, including Kutch, including all those areas, all became barren, dry areas because the ocean receded. and that's the reason all of this, what you see, this portion, the soil is very saline. There's a lot of ancient salt still in this land, but it also forms a beautiful narrative to set up a museum that actually celebrates the maritime history. So that's the challenge with the project, that we are building it in a dry region. But in monsoon, if you see all this brown area, this is all a massive flood plain. So there's a flood plain of 64 square kilometers, and that's perfect because this also maps how the ocean used to fill up this zone. This is all the low-lying zones that probably 3,000 years ago the water used to rush in, and that's how they used to get the ships out of this place. So this is the whole context of this place. It's a very tricky site, and if you go to Lothal today, this is what it looks like. So there is, it's also the first known location where natural plumbing was explored. So this is the first, we have MEP engineers in the room, and just to put it into context, these are the first known drains and covered drains in human history. So that's how important this place is. This is where the ships used to be loaded and sent off, what is called the dry dock. And this picture is particularly important because that's the size of bricks they used to use on a human hand. That's my hand. This picture is also very important because the moment water comes in contact with the soil, all the soil turns white because there's so much of salt. So in fact, I still remember when Mr. Dharkar and me went to see this site. It was January, so you can forgive me for thinking that there was snow because so much of it was white. It looked as if there was snow had happened.
It had actually rained that day.
Yeah, it had rained. It had rained about a day or two earlier, so everything was white. So the inspiration of the project is to inspire, align, inform, and discover, because a maritime museum, unlike many other museums, the age group that visits these kind of projects is young children with their parents, and you want to educate them, you want to teach them, you want to send them back with knowledge. And we've seen so many museums in the past which are extremely boring because it's all about just delivering information through text and photographs. So it was very important for us to create a museum which was all about experience and all about having fun and absorbing that knowledge through fun. To give you a sense of scale of how large this site is, so it's a 1.5 miles long, 2.5 kilometers. So that's longer than the famous museum mile in Paris where you have the Louvre. To give you a sense, we are in the city of Bombay. So that's Oval Maidan, that's the that's the Brabant Stadium, Wankhede Stadium, and that's the Eastern Docks. So the site is longer than the cross section of the narrow portion of Bombay. If you put it on Gandhinagar, for those familiar with Gandhinagar or those familiar with Central Vista, Delhi, that's how large the site is, and it's about 600 meters across. So this is an overlay of our site on the Museum Mile in Paris. Just to give you a sense, this is the famous Louvre with the triangular dome with the triangular pyramid of IMP, and these are the gardens in front. We went through a series of master plans how to design this entire place, and one of the things is I mentioned about the floodplain. So we have 63 million cusecs of water that come in the monsoon season, and we had to design the site in a way that all of that water does not get impeded by the construction that we do here. And the reason for that is you have to build about 4.5 meters above the natural ground level in order to ensure that your site doesn't get flooded. So some of the first iterations were to keep the entire design fluidic. If you're wondering what that circle in the middle is, there is a state highway that cuts through the site in an east-west direction. North is up, and we wanted to make sure that the state highway doesn't become a kind of a noisy and place with trucks and vehicles and all of that cuts the site. So we came up with an urban move that allowed the state highway to get elevated, and we were able to join the northern end and the southern end of the site through navigation boats and roads, etc. So the final iteration is the one you see in brown. And just to give you a sense, on the northern end of the site we are anchored with the main maritime museum. In front of it there are these water docks. This is what we call the Bagicha complex. It's where the state highway intersects. And as we come to the southern end of the site, we have 5 theme parks. You have the Lothal and the Harappan theme park, which is inspired on Dholavira, etc. And you have a maritime theme park, you have a naval theme park, and on the eastern edge of the site we have a bunch of hotels and eco resorts. To the left of the site is, so there are almost going to be more than 1,000 people that are going to work here in the museum. So that's the museum housing, and these white portions that you see in the master plan is the upper town and lower town lakes. As in the monsoon in July we have a lot of water coming in, we are able to collect somewhere around 60 to 90 crore liters of water in order to make this site net zero positive. And we lose almost 50 to 55% of that water. So we lose about 35 crore liters of water just to evaporation losses. So our requirement is about 35 crore liters of water. It naturally flows through our site. So we collect that water through the months of June, July, August, and with evaporation losses we are still able to sustain up to April with the water that we've collected. That's the longer vision, although there is a Narmada supply coming in from Ahmedabad, but we are anticipating that we will probably need that water supply only in the months of maybe February and March. And the reason we need that water supply in February and March is not because we've run out of water, is because the lower levels of the lakes, the water becomes so saline that you simply cannot use it beyond that certain month till it gets replenished again in June, July. So this is a 3D visual of the entire master plan. That's the state highway I spoke about that gets elevated and goes through and cuts across. This is the Maritime Museum, which is being built in 2 phases. These are the 5 theme parks and the eco-tels and the hotels in the east. There is, along with this, there is also a lighthouse museum, and there is anchoring in the north is a maritime institute, which will be the largest maritime institute of India, because every successful museum needs to be supplemented with education in order for the museum to become an institution and not just like a gimmick. So this is phase 1, which is currently under construction. The cost of phase 1 is about 1200 crores. The total project is about 5,000 crores, and we're happy to announce that it was passed in the union budget last year. So the project is happening as we speak, and phase 2 is already being tendered for. As we move on, these are some photographs of the construction which is happening at site of phase 1A. So what you can see is the main walkways, the jetty, you have water on 2 sides, and the first half of the museum is already under construction. And if you can see those images in the background, literally we are building in the middle of nowhere. But you can see those green fields. This photograph is taken in February, and the fields are green because of the water which got collected in July of the previous year. So there is and you can also see the first North Lake which is being created. The first lake itself is 30 crores liter of water. This is the overall master plan which I explained. Some more images of the state highway, the interchange, and it goes away, and then how we have these navigation canals. So the idea is to bring people here for at least 2 days. So they live in the hotels, they go to the theme parks, they catch a boat, they go to the museum. The museum is so large, it's about 3x or 4x larger than the largest museum that currently exists in the country. So we are capturing everything from pre-Harappan civilization of maritime trade up to the modern Indian Navy and the future of maritime trade. And we all know that India is on its path to become, a maritime power in the world. So the architecture of the museum was chosen to be something of a Harappan concept. The Harappan architecture of 4,000-5,000 years is unknown to us because all of that got obliterated and wiped out. But through texts and conjecture, we were able to come out with an architectural style and a modern version of that architectural style that we believe represented that architecture of the given age. We are also working very closely with the Navy. Believe it or not, these are full-size ships and aircraft bombers and guns and all of that were bought here on trucks. Like this ship was brought here in 6 parts or 8 parts, welded together, put on stilts, and in a year from now we'll be flooding this pond once the lining work and everything is over. The pond itself is going to be like a natural pond, so there's going to be a lot of plant species in order to keep the water clean and alive and to have fish. So you will have seasonal color differences. In the monsoon the water will be grey because it will be turbulent. We're expecting the water to be much more greener in the other seasons, and as the summer comes we're expecting the water to be, because it will be very still and calm, to be blue. These are some more images of the actual museum. So this is the lower level of what we call the Bagicha complex, where people can cross from the southern side to the northern side without having to cross any vehicular movement. This is an aerial shot of how the movement from the point you get off, you walk, and then you actually come to the museum, and you have jetties on both sides where you can enjoy the evening show, sound and light show and all of that, which will be on the museum itself. An aerial shot of the same thing under construction. This is what we call the jetty, which you enter in the upper level of the museum, and as you enter the museum you actually go down into a subterranean level, because one of the things that we're trying to celebrate in the maritime history is archaeological finding. There is no museum in the world that today talks about underwater archaeology as a subject. So we were asked to incorporate that in the museum design. So we incorporated in the actual architectural essence, wherein as you enter you go down and then you walk at a subterranean level where you're surrounded by all these underwater artifacts. So it's a hybrid between a museum and probably this is a photograph of the jetty under construction with the INS Nishank on the right hand side. As you get dropped off and you walk towards the southern end of the jetty, we go up to the what we call the upper jetty, and then you have escalators that take you to the upper jetty and the actual museum entrance. So this slide is important because the way the movement is designed is you actually enter from the upper jetty, you make your way down, and when you come to the main entrance level of the museum, you access all the galleries from this level, what we call the lower level, and as you walk around the main courtyard you experience these tanks, and these tanks will have all sorts of exhibits. There are 32 tanks in all, and they will have exhibits starting from prehistoric mythical exhibits of underwater archaeology to modern techniques of underwater archaeology and how things are found, how things are cleaned, processed, all of that. This is the first image you get when you enter the museum and you make your way down. You can start to see those tanks. So you'll have divers and you'll have activity in those tanks which will engage the kids, and that it'll start to spark curiosity, because one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted this museum to be a lot of fun and not a typical sterile museum which is sort of dictated by its strong architectural form. This is as you come down and you look back at the main entrance. As we move through the lower levels of the museum, you have the upper level from where you have all the north lights for the natural light to come into the spaces, which is the upper jetty level. And the museum itself is a cruciform plan. So this is the main entry block. All the brown blocks represent the main gallery. So there are 14 galleries in all. The pink in the middle is the main circulation around the tanks. You have the pink to the east and the west, which is all the back of house. So we have extremely large artifacts, we have workshops, we have collection areas, carpentry, millwork, all of that which has to be done every time exhibits are changed. So all of that is happening from the east and the west. We also have 3 cafes and administrative areas with 3 different cuisines, which are all towards the periphery so that they can be served directly from the outside. And at the northern end we have a 5D dome theatre, which is going to be more of an experiential experience, which is going to be built in phase 2. That's the section we spoke about, where you come and you actually exit from the lower level jetty. The plan is to have people to spend about anywhere between 5 to 6 hours in the museum. So when you exit the museum, you can host, you can enjoy a nice sunset over the, over the water. That's on the upper level is what we call Lothal town. It's a conjectural reimagination of what life would have been in the Harappan era. So we are working with a lot of specialists in the subject who are approving the visuals of those architectural styles before they are actually implemented. So one of the things in a project like this is that there's a big process of how you design something, how it gets approved, how you course correct when you realize that something that you're representing is not actually factual, and when you course correct and then you represent it in the way that it's supposed to be represented. These are the 2 courtyards, and we have 2 galleries, namely the Navy and the Children's Gallery, which you will see from the images. They are like maritime vessels, but they are tilted, they're slightly tilted, is because the reason they're tilted is when we were designing this, we wanted to capture that moment when a vessel is about to tilt, but due to its center of gravity it sort of comes back into shape. So the idea of tilting those galleries was to express that moment through architecture, and of course structurally doing it was quite a joy, which we'll show you in the remaining of the presentation. Right in the center of the museum is a 100 by 100 meter area called the Lothal town, and because we have these 4 trusses that intersect each other, the tops of these trusses become amphitheaters for people to sit. So we feel that we can get 5,000 people to sit here. And in the center is the Lothal village, and in the evening, once the museum visit is over, about 9 p.m. there's going to be a sound and light show on the Lothal village, where people can come back from their hotels, experience their sound and light show, and then go back through the evening to their destination using the boats or using the canoes. That's the photograph of Lothal town under construction. So what you see is these 2 arches on both sides, and the bottom as well as the top become the amphitheater steps, and the middle of the boat truss, that's where the natural light goes to the lower galleries of the museum. And the middle bit is the Lothal town, and in order to enter Lothal town you have to cross these 4 bridges which cross over water. So this is that's the Navy gallery under construction, and on this side in phase 2 will be the Children's Gallery, which is a mirror image of that. This is what the evening setup looks like in the Lothal town, which is surrounded by water as it would have been in history. This is what it looks like when you're actually enjoying Lothal town in the day, and the evening setup just before the sound and light show. So this whole bit is currently under redesign because we are working with the experts as to how this has to be expressed. As I mentioned, we also worked very closely with the Navy. So we have a lot of decommissioned Navy artillery, aircraft, ships, which were brought in a kit of parts, and they've been installed in strategic locations as an outdoor naval artifact, including one Sea Harrier within the courtyard of the museum, and a Coast Guard hovercraft on the roof of the Navy Gallery. And each of these are being converted to indoor museums, so people can actually enter. They will be able to walk the entire ship and the aircraft, and they'll be able to see how life was, or how our servicemen actually live on ship. So this is the first one, INS Nishank. It served in the Navy from 89 to 22. It was decommissioned and then sent to this museum. That's what it looks like now that it's been reinstalled on site. And there are a lot of things we learned, which we didn't know, but we learned, what is the meaning of the red line or the black line? Why is it in front gray and in the rear it is black? Then you have the IL-38. It's a drone aircraft along with being a bomber. It's also been decommissioned, brought to site in parts and reinstalled, and now it's being converted to an aircraft museum at the site. That's how it is right now. And the air condition, all these are internally air conditioned, so we had to work quite hard as to where to put the air conditioning, how to make it work, and all of that. And you can imagine this museum, all of this being water, and the IL-38 kind of protruding just over the water in its takeoff position. That's the tilted gallery that I spoke of, which is the naval gallery, and these are from where natural light will be coming into the naval gallery, just as it would in a ship. You'd have these small openings from where you'd get natural light. Then of course we have the UH-3H, which is the naval helicopter, also installed at site. Currently it's been wrapped up because it's a dusty place. We have the Sea Harrier, which is also installed at site, currently wrapped up. And then the Indian Coast Guard wanted one of their items to be put on display. So we have the hovercraft, which has been placed on the terrace. And as you can see, the terrace was casted, so the hovercraft was brought in 3 parts, welded, lifted, and then placed on the terrace. Just so you know, we are also the PMC for this project. So it's not just something we designed and we left. We have a team of 25 people on site working through each and every step of this most amazing project. I'll skip this. This is what the place looks like in July, August, when all the floods come through this floodplain. Obviously, once everything is lifted and the ponds, which are carefully curated, are created, we'll get that final image which we showed you in the earlier part of the presentation. This is the overall water balance diagram. I think Mr. Dharkar will explain it much better, but all of the water which is incoming as well as falling on the site is being captured. We are not capturing more water than we need to, because the water has to also go downstream. There's a large area of farming and local people over there that rely on the water, but we are capturing, I think, not more than 0.2 or 0.3% of the water which is crossing our site in those 4 months. This is the overall water diagram of how the ponds are all collected. So there's a series of upper ponds and lower ponds, and we use the lower ponds in the first 4 months after monsoon, where the water is less saline, and the upper ponds we use from January onwards, because the upper ponds are rainwater collection ponds and they're lined ponds, so they don't have direct access to the soil. So we are able to use those ponds from January onwards when the natural water ponds become too saline. So it's a complete water balance, and we've worked very closely with a lady from Hyderabad, Swati, she's not here today, and of course Mr. Dharkar and his team, to work out this amazing network of water dependability. This is my last slide before I hand over to Mr. Dharkar. So it's a thermally very well insulated building. It's luckily, being a museum and being a very technologically savvy museum, we had a fair amount of less requirement for natural light. So it was easy to create a well thermally insulated building, but still with all the data possible, we've been able to produce quite a nice design, in my opinion. So over to you, Mr. Dharkar. Don't see the time.
Okay. Good morning. I still remember the day we went first to the site, and in fact, in my life of 44 years, we hardly have done any government projects. And when Hafeez and Karl called me up to ask whether I am interested to be part of this journey, I was little hesitant. I was not very sure what will happen and whether we will even get a chance when we will bid. But the kind of energy which Karl and his team has shown can be seen here, what has happened there. The day when I had gone there, I had never imagined that we can create such wonderful property, such wonderful asset for the nation. When we were preparing for the presentation, I was damn confident that this job is going to be with us, and we competed with many stalwart architects of the nation. But the kind of presentation and what you are seeing was something which was presented. We didn't change anything, right, sir? So, and this is happening now, and I must compliment all my contracting companies who are doing this work. So right from Tata Projects to many subcontractors are here. It is very, very hard to do work there because there is nothing there. There is no hotel. There is nothing. It is an amazing joint effort which has gone in, and today we feel so satisfied that this is something in life time opportunity anybody can get. So I think he has touched this subject, but again going back to the first slide which where Karl started, the Bay of Khambat and the way the water transfers here in the monsoon. I remember after bidding when we went there, there was nothing seen. Everywhere there was water, and that brings a lot of challenges. So the way he explained, whatever is falling onto the ground, onto our raised platform, which is almost 4 meters in our property, we are collecting and using it. So that is what is water available. We in fact had started with the concept of having a desalination plant which will be solar based. The first phase didn't allow us because of the budgetary constraints, but this is the location where we have planned a solar desalination plant also. So whatever water is coming here, which is whatever water is coming here, it is a salty water, as Karl explained. Whatever is falling onto our property is all pure water, so we are using it. But if that falls short, we were wanting to take up this water, clean it and put it back to our main reservoirs. So that is a plan. I am sure as we move forward and government sees the potential, we will get sanctions for that. But the total canal and jetty has 1,000 lakh litre of water, and currently the first phase we are talking about 1,500 lakh litre of water. So it's a huge water which is falling here, which is being captured, and this is something very pleasing. This was the first monsoon which has these tanks filled up. So we are now very confident whatever calculations we had done together is going to yield results. But this was absolutely pleasing when we saw this entire rainwater coming here and complementing the efforts of whatever we thought. So this is a complete water balance chart, how we are dealing with. Of course, we were fortunate when we started, we were not confident that we'll get drinking water from Narmada Canal, but I think government is also working very fast and very hard. We got the entire line of 70 kilometers from where we are going to bring about 10 lakh in this phase and 20 lakh in second phase. Water possibility is there. So in case it doesn't rain properly, we will top up this. Maybe 1 or 2 months we will need this water. Otherwise, if solar solar desalination also gets commissioned, we have that water. This entire balance chart indicates that what we are going to be net positive. In fact, we will be not needing water from outside, and we have also derived all our preferences how the water will be used, and we have a very good automation system in place for that. This was what Karl also shown. We have multiple treatment plants here, and when we are talking about complete things to be viewed, we also learned a lot on the water quality here. This was phenomenal journey because Hafeez wanted this water bodies to be live. So once we talk about fish life, we have to have very different quality of water. So all these treatments are going to ensure that there is no turbidity in the water, and therefore biofiltration plants are also designed here. So it is going to be a fantastic experience on the water's quality in terms of its treatments. This is going to be a unique project for the country. In terms of electrical, the entire distribution, we didn't have anything around that place, so almost 70 kilometers down we have brought the power here. In fact, this is again a normal 66 kVA station, would have taken 3 years, but government complemented it. Our contractors also work hard, and we have now this entire substation completely done there. From the main, this is where our main water tank and our substation is. We have a fire station there which is built up here because we will have a lot of people here. We expect 25,000 people to visit on a holiday. Average could be 5,000 to 7,000 people. So we have complete fire station made here. We have complete water tanks which will come from 70 kilometers, and also the power. This 66 kVA line which is at multiple stations. We have 11 kVA substations in each parcel, and the entire HT distribution is happening. Further, of course, it is a LT distribution. This is how the power is planned. We have total requirement of 15.4 megawatt of 1000 kilowatt of power. So currently the first phase has 4395 kilowatt of power, which is all done here. And as you would have seen in beautiful images, we have multiple places solar PV plant. As Karl was telling you, this is going to be the largest net positive campus of the museum campus of the world. We have huge number of solar possibilities. Even these tilted slopes which Karl explained you are with an angle where I can get maximum efficiency of solar collection. So these tilts are also architecturally and engineering wise calibrated, and we are very happy that this is what we are going to achieve. So total we expect 10 megawatt of power which we can generate from solar PVs. And this is again a very detailed drawing on redundancy side, but we are going to have redundant power. So currently all transformers, generators, everything has been installed, and we are ready to even run if they want to start. You can see here where the beautiful panels and fantastic work done by our contractors. In terms of fire and life safety, there are no compromises. We are completely code compliance in terms of egresses, travel distances, everything has been tested. We have close to 4 lakh liters of fire tanks here with multiple tanks, ensuring that there are not going to be any shortage of water for fighting the fire. We are also connecting them to large tank. In terms of all kitchen separation, all panels are protected, and entire complex is having sprinkler system. This is the current situation of our pump rooms. Everything has been done now. In terms of automation, because since we are talking about net zero and then positive campus, all utilities are getting measured. We have a very smart command center plant there. We will be measuring water, we will be measuring energy, we will be ensuring very high indoor air quality. Everything has been done in a very smart way, and that is in terms of smoke detection and also low voltage services, complete networking has been done. You can see the grid here, how the LV cables are moving. All trenches, all routes have been very nicely integrated with the landscape consultants and architectural team, and this entire looping has been done for first phase. The entire air conditioning has been uniquely designed based on the applications where special galleries are there. We are talking about controlling the humidity to 50%, because the lot of artifacts will require those kind of conditions. While the general conditions you can see here are defined here. This is first 1A phase, which is having these tonnages. Again, every air conditioning of these zones are done differently. If you really look into it, we have used very high COP chillers, 6.7, which is the best available in the globe. We have IE5 premium motors, IE4 ratings for AHUs. Entire insulation and pipe ductwork is as per super ECBC standards. We have not compromised anything there. We have use of heat recovery wheels. We have two-stage cooling being installed for kitchen areas, dry scrubbers everywhere, and of course the major area where the movement is happening is all having high mass radiant system, and all balancing are completely computerized and have complete automation. You can see here this was in progress work where entire this red area is having the radiant system. In fact, there were a lot of challenges in doing that with the kind of architecture and the heights are there, but with the help of the team of Karl, we are able to implement this. At many stages client was worrying how this will happen, why, if there are leakages, what is going to happen, but we are very fortunate that jointly we are able to execute this, and this is going to be again the largest radiant system project for the nation, first for its kind, and we all know that this is going to save us at least 40% of energy when we complete this. The current situation is that we have installed all air conditioning systems, AHUs, cooling tower, all work is completed. You can see the challenges here. The ducting is going at this height. We have vertical headers. So it is very intricate job, but the way the installation is done with hydraulic jacks and cranes is something very interesting. Not many sites will see such installations happening. So these are our galleries which have close to 16-meter height, and the challenges were different, but together we are solving them. This is a typical dome where some part is having underfloor air conditioning also. These are general schematics, and a great amount of work has been done on the BMS side. In terms of smoke management, this is a unique project where a lot of people are going to be there. So normal air conditioning systems which has sorry, this is not. So the same ducting is being used for smoke exhaust, and also increased ventilation is getting ensured here. So not only from the air conditioning point of view, but from the fire and smoke point of view also, all automation has been ensured, and we are going to have a very safe and secured kind of museum, complementing the energy targets which we have set for ourselves. So that is all I had, and of course phase 2 you can tell them again.
So very quickly before we just run, thank you Mr. Dharkar, it's very well explained. I must tell you, nothing would be possible without his patience. So phase 2 coming up is the other side of the museum, along with the Lighthouse Museum as well as the main urban interchange, what is called the Bagicha complex. It has the children's gallery, a whole bunch of play areas. It has the main pond, which is also a kund. It's inspired after a kund, and you have the 5D dome theatre, which is hidden behind this screen. This is what those phase 2 courtyards look like. In fact, the tender opening is happening in the next few days, and as we approach the dome theatre with the pre-function spaces and all of that, the entire architectural styling, the way natural light is being brought into these parts of the museum, because we don't have a requirement of black boxes, is treated differently. This is the 5D dome theatre, which is going to come up in phase 2, along with the lighthouse, which is inspired from the Mahabalipuram lighthouse, which you can see here. That was a requirement of the DGLL, and the theme parks which are coming in phase 2. You have the Lothal theme park, the hotels, the climate theme park, and all these different experiences for visitors, for children. We have the coastal pavilions, where each and every coastal state of India is going to make their own pavilion, covering their culture, history, cuisines, all of that. So this is what walking from one coastal pavilion to the other one would feel like in the evening. You can take a boat, so that's Maharashtra. This is the Lothal city recreation, also coming in phase 2, which is again based on the Harappan port town. And this is the entrance to the Museotel and the hotel, which is also coming in phase 2. So this complete place will be like a maritime experience, which is not currently there in India. And with this, I will request to just run the video, please, with these last few slides. Yeah.
फ्रेंड्स, वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज कमेटी का ये कार्यक्रम भारत के लिए एक गौरवशाली उपलब्धि से जुड़ा है। मैं जिस गुजरात राज्य से आता हूं, वहां धोलावीरा और लोथल जैसे स्थान है। धोलावीरा में 3000 से 1500 BCE पहले जिस तरह की अर्बन प्लानिंग थी, जिस तरह का वाटर मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम और व्यवस्थाएं थी, वो 21वीं सदी में भी एक्सपर्ट्स को हैरान करते हैं। लोथल में भी दुर्ग और लोअर टाउन की प्लानिंग, स्ट्रीट और ड्रेन्स की व्यवस्था, ये उस प्राचीन सभ्यता के आधुनिक स्तर को बताता है।
That's the wonderful team. Thank you. Yeah.